Hello. Once again, welcome to Grace in Motion Ministries. I'm Charles Womack, and I am so happy to be once again in your presence and want to thank you again for allowing us into the privacy of your homes. Of course, as we've always shared, we believe that one of the greatest blessings that God has ever given to man is the blessing of the concept of grace. You see, what would we do if there was no grace given from God? We also believe that we're all warriors in the midst of a spiritual warfare. And if we are in the midst of a spiritual warfare, then surely there are responsibilities that we've been given in our mission here on earth. So here we are today, acknowledging once again the significance of the Christian warrior. I am so honored today because, of course, as we know, one of the most special and significant days are upon us, and that is Mother's Day. God is so good to me because he has given me a magnificent mother, a warrior in her own right, one that has been called to carry the torch of spirituality, raising all of her children in a very challenging environment. However, because again, the grace of God, the guidance of God, she has brought us through. I'm again happy to be here with my mother. I want to introduce all of you to my wonderful, wonderful mother, Mrs. Ethel M. Spann. Mama, how are you?
Son. Great.
Wonderful, wonderful. Mama, I mean, yes, this is a very, very, very special moment for me because here I sit. Everyone doesn't have the opportunity to have their mother in a situation where they can share their mother with a number of people on such a special occasion. God has allowed this opportunity, and because of that, I'm grateful, one, that you're my mother, two, that he's allowed you to come and be a part of this very special experience. It's special to me, and I pray that it will be special to all that will observe this particular show. Now, I guess the first question I want to actually pose is, I recall, Mama, as far back as I remember, I think I was probably about 6 years old or so, and you were the shepherd of a flock of Christians, believers. And we used to ride to Dania, Florida all the time, and you had the church there. And in that church, you would consistently preach, and you would sing, and you would raise the spirits of people. But as time progressed, you eventually obtained a title over another program. But you shared with me recently that it was not the church, but it was the message, or it was the mission. And that is the title of the program, or the church, or the mission is entitled Grace Temple of Hope. Now, apparently, that resonated in my heart because I named this program Grace in Motion. I guess my question, Mama, is share with us exactly what did the concept grace mean to you? Not per se the building grace, but the work of grace, if you would please.
The work is grace. I was given it to work for God, as he himself has endowed me with this power. And I work in Grace Temple of Hope because Grace Temple is a spirit of love. Hope is my physical. And the hope is God.
Okay. More?
Well,
okay.
If you really want to
yes,
know.
Talk to us, Mama. We're here today to hear from you.
I am endowed with power to heal, to teach, and to lead God's people the way of life.
Yes.
So since then, he has sent people to me.
Yes.
And I have healed them. I've delivered them from their troubles through his power. And I have counseled untold number of people.
Yes.
And different races and nationality.
And of course, I recall, Mama, when we were children, that's exactly what you did. I mean, you were nonstop. I mean, you were on God's mission, and you're still on God's mission. And so tell us more about some of those encounters as far as, I know you used to travel, no matter what time a person called you, you would get up and you would go and you would service those persons. Those people would be blessed through the process of your love. So tell us more about exactly, I mean, was there any limitations on exactly what you would do if God called you to take care of a specific person or a specific group of people?
God is not a limited God.
Okay.
His spirit guides me, and I obey his voice.
Yes.
I never ask him questions.
Okay.
I never hesitate
Okay.
to obey him.
Yes.
He is my guide.
Yes.
I
Yes.
work the work in which he has given me,
Yes.
regardless to where, when, and how
Yes.
he will have of me.
Yes, yes. And I appreciate that. And I know as we continue to talk, we're going to warm up and we're going to let the Spirit do what it will. And that's a beautiful thing. And I hear exactly what you're saying in reference to not limiting God. And I'm a firm believer that's where my foundation lies, because I'm resilient and I'm relentless when it comes to doing what God has called me to do as far as the work is concerned. And I'm striving to cultivate my own personal world, my own personal life. Some of the things that you've shared with us as children that has really been a blessing. Like I say, I know when you have a number of kids, all of the children, they have their own interpretation of what they're experiencing. You can have 5 children, 6 children under one roof, but they all have different attitudes towards life. Now, I realized something when we were children, and that is the power of your love. And I mean, I really know that you would go beyond the call of duty to make sure we all knew that we were loved. One of the things that you've never done, and that is you've never separated us. You've never said that I love one. I've heard parents say, I wish you was like your brother. Or why don't you try to be more like this person? I mean, you've never done that. I mean, even today, if we're talking and we're on the phone and at the end of the conversation, and this was a personal communication between you and I, at the end you say, I love you all. You see what I'm saying? And then you've never ever separated. Even when we were like, kids are gonna fight. And so even when we fought, you would stop that fight and you would tell us, now we got our discipline for it, but also you would say, you know what? You're all you all have on this earth. And if you can't get along with each other, then you don't expect to get along with anyone else. And that was a very major lesson. Where did that kind of love come from that resonates in your heart?
My mother
Okay.
is from the soul. For who I am, I know this is what my children supposed to know, that they themselves would never get from anyone else. And I had to live and teach you all accordingly, because I was given you all to me by God as a responsibility.
Yes.
And when you have been given a responsibility, there is no way you can renege your responsibility.
Yes.
You've got to put everything that you have in it.
Yes.
And that is where God himself always rejuvenated me with energy, mentally and physically,
Yes.
to make sure that I had what I needed to take care of you all and to guide you on your way.
Okay, okay. Now, Mama, was this something that, now I know me as well as all of my brothers and sisters, we can always share with our children that, I got this from home. That's why I'm who I am. I got this from Mama. I got this from the environment that she cultivated inside of our own home. Does that also goes to your background? I mean, was that type of love and harmony in a reality among you and your children, your sisters and brothers? Or did that come later because of your relationship with God?
In truth,
Yes.
my relationship with God started when I was a child.
Yes.
I had some different with my sisters and brothers. I find that they were selfish,
Okay.
as all children would be.
Okay.
But in all, they would do things that they shouldn't do.
Okay.
And they used to tell me that I was a tattletale. I tell Mama and Papa everything on them. Well, then I
Okay.
did it only because I wanted to help them. That was love. It was strong.
Yes.
We was closely knitted together.
Yes.
As long as Mom and Papa was there,
Yes.
I didn't know anything about the opposite until others started coming to our home.
Okay.
It was a love. that you really can't just put into words.
Okay.
So I said it's the love of God
Okay.
that blessed our family to be the type of family that it was. My father did what he could do to raise his children.
Right.
My mother was always there with them. And the love, in a human sense, was developed in that way, in that time.
Right.
But with God, he endowed me with the power of his love. He gave me the way to understand what it was, someone to share it with, and he made me a mother. And being a mother, you don't have to look for love. It's there.
Absolutely.
You feel, you pour it out. You know it's there. Your child is you. You don't hurt yourself, you don't hurt your child. The more he gave me, the more my love just poured out for them.
Right.
And believe me, all of you are the same.
Yes.
If I talk about one of you, I talk about all of you.
Right. Right.
So therefore,
Right.
it's not a hard task. It's not painful.
Right.
It's not regretful. It's something that you want.
Yes.
You never say that I wish I didn't have you, but I'm so glad I have you all.
Yes.
And I'll be there for you,
Yes.
always,
Yes.
according as the word of God has given me.
Yes.
I'll be there. Believe me, I'll be there.
Yes. Yes.
And I could tell other mothers as well, be there for your children.
Right.
Don't allow anything to come between you and your children. They're part of you.
Yes. Yes. And you know, Mama, I must say that for myself, and I can only speak for me, but I'm sure that it is equivalent with all of my brothers and sisters, and that is we did feel that love. We not just felt that love, we knew that love because that love was real. And that's one of the reasons we strive to love, you know, our children. And when I think about all of my brothers and sisters, I think of one brother that's raising both his daughter and his son. And I know that I have a strong bond with my children. And all of my brothers and sisters do the same, grandchildren, etc. And I know it's only because of the foundation that was laid by you in our lives, in that environment. And I'm a firm believer too, Mama, that, you know, we are influenced by our environment. I mean, we really are, but it doesn't have to be a negative influencing, even if it's in a negative environment. And I remember something that, and again, these are the things that have stuck in my heart, and these are the things that I cherish today. These are the things I've shared with people in my counseling sessions, etc. And I remember you used to always tell us, you know, even though we're not going to put a negative connotation on the concept of projects, and we lived in the projects. Back then they were called the projects. Today they're called government housing. So I'm just being politically correct here, but I mean, so that everyone would understand what I'm saying. One of the things that you would always say is that, you know, you say, we may live in the projects, but the projects does not have to live in us. And that meant so much to me. Now, I had my own interpretation. You'd say it, but you never really expounded on it. Here we are on TV. Please share with us exactly for anyone, and the projects doesn't have to mean a housing community. It might be a situation. What do you mean when you say we may live in a bad situation, but that situation does not have to live in us?
When I made that statement to you all, I wanted you to know just because we was in a certain environment, and it says this for where poor people live.
Yes.
I wanted you to know that you wasn't poor. You were just as rich as my God was rich.
Yes.
And you had everything that you need of, as long as you respect him and obey him and do the thing that was right.
Yes.
And tell the truth.
Yes.
See, if you can't tell Mama the truth, you can't tell nobody else the truth.
Right, right.
And I told you, if it was too bad
Yes, I remember.
for you to tell Mama,
It's too bad to do.
it's too bad for you to know or to do.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because, see, you can tell Mama anything.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
And I would tell God, and he would give us the answer.
And you know, those are exactly the seeds that were planted. Those are the seeds that were cultivated. Because believe it or not, even when I went off to college in Houston, Texas, I mean, I would hear those words. I really would. You know, I mean, you know, being 18, 19, 20 years old, and you're out there for the first time on your own, and here you are faced with decisions. You know they're not the best decisions for you. And I remember I would hear those words that says, if it's too bad to tell mama, you need to go on back to the dormitory. Now, every now and then I violate that move, but of course, that has been such a blessing to me. Now, I'm thinking, Ma, now in reference to what it was like when we were young people, younger, let's put it that way. We're still young in our spirits and all of the above. Back in the day, in Miami, in the government projects, dealing with the 60s, when things were chaotic, in my eyes, based on my exposure, the riots, I remember running, ducking bullets, they were going on. I remember the problems with the racial relationships down at A&P. I remember some of the other things that were going on, friends that were dying all around us. I remember the war, the Vietnam War. I remember when they would actually come in and draft all the little boys in the projects, and then we'd see Mr. Government Man come and bring a flag. We knew exactly what it was because they were dressed, they had flags folded, and they would knock on a Pacific apartment door. And so everyone knew that Robert's gone, or Johnny's gone, or whatever the case may be. You had 4 boys. You had 2 girls. We were in an at-risk environment. Trouble was all around us. As a mother, raising these children alone, what were some of the intense thoughts, feelings, and views of those realities?
Again, I had no fear. I live in God,
Yes.
and God live in me.
Yes.
Now, in God, there is no fear,
Okay.
no doubt. If I can get others to think this way and live this way, then they likewise could survive and overcome all the things of the negative that has been brought up in our lives. My 4 boys are what God wanted from me. I gave them to him. My twin daughters, I asked for a daughter, and he gave me twins.
Yes.
So then what happened in my life is a total guidance from the same God of everybody in the whole world. You just don't call on him, just don't respect him in that way.
Yes.
He has no respect of a person. He is the source of every life on this earth. You respect him, you take care of his own. When God told me that we were his family,
Yes.
I treated it as such.
Yes.
Because he and he alone can take care of us,
Yes.
protect us, and provide for us.
Yes.
So I held on to it,
Yes.
and I wouldn't ever let go.
Yes.
Do you realize that God said this is his home,
Yes.
and he's going to live on earth among mankind?
Yes.
Well, then he don't ever make a statement that he cannot bring to pass. So God live on this earth, as Jesus said unto that of all those he was with. Have I been so long time with you, and yet you not know me?
Yes. Yes.
See, again, God live on the earth because he's a spirit. But when he live on the earth in the full, then you will see his face.
Yes. Yes. And I must say, I know there's power in the love of a mother, but when it comes to a mother who trusts solely in God, then there's something beyond power, And I remember, your spirit would be with me as a little child. I remember one time I was at the park. I don't know if you remember this, but I was at the park, and I had just learned how to use a few bad words, because I heard those words, and I was using those bad words, and the kid said, "Your mama's behind you, man." And I'm like, "Yeah, right." And I turned around, and you were there. However, no matter how far I would go, I would always know that my mama's spirit is right here. Let me share this. Now, I don't know if you remember when I was in college at Texas Southern University, and I had gotten into this fight. And I mean, it had gotten really ugly. Now I'm standing there, this brother got a bottle full of water in his hand. I'm being courageous because that's my foundation and I don't run from much of anything. And here I am standing toe to toe with this fella and the phone rings. And Wendell said, hey man, your mama's on the phone. And that actually saved a very tragic situation. Tell us, Ma, how are you able to feel the Spirit and the need to intervene, not just in your children's lives, but in the lives of those that are in need of your presence?
Now, if I tell you that, then you would know my mind.
Okay. Well, very good then. In that case,
You
Mm-hmm.
know
Yes.
that I am spirit
Yes.
from the high heavens
Yes.
to the earth,
Yes.
to see and to hear. I can see when you're in trouble.
Yes.
I see when you're out of place.
Mm-hmm.
I can see what you're going through with.
Yes.
So I am to intervene.
Yes. Yes.
Realize I'm your guiding angel.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And to that, any other
Mm-hmm.
who are in need of my help,
Mm-hmm.
they only can stay in contact.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is how you get your answers
Mm-hmm.
from your prayers that you pray.
Mm-hmm.
You pray to God, He give you an answer.
Mm-hmm.
So then you are a witness
Mm-hmm.
to the true realization of the God of life
Okay.
that takes care of His own.
Okay. Okay.
He's not selfish, but you've got to give Him respect.
Yes.
When you respect Him, He will see that you will be cared for,
Mm-hmm.
and He will not leave you.
Mm-hmm.
So then when you saw me, you knew you couldn't get away,
Mm-hmm.
and you couldn't do things that you say, well, it'll be all right. Or God don't see this. He sees everything,
Well,
everywhere.
I like what you just said because this is a very powerful concept, and that is respecting God.
Respecting
You know,
God.
persons are, we go to church, you know, people go to church, people quote unquote try to portray themselves as spiritual. What does respect means when it comes to respecting God? What does that mean?
Respect is to live your life pleasing to God. You have the commandment. You live according to the commandment.
Yes.
And you will not go contrary to God because of your selfishness.
Mm-hmm.
And you being full of pride.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't put self before life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He is our life. So you respect Him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to be a spiritual person,
Mm-hmm.
you have a soul. Your soul will not allow you
Mm-hmm.
to do the things which is wrong because your consciousness will warn you.
Right. Right.
Everybody that have a soul has a conscience,
Mm-hmm.
and your conscience will warn you when you're wrong.
Yes.
And the spirit of reason is to step in,
Okay.
and then you will withdraw whatever it is that you feel within yourself that you should not do.
Right.
That's
right.
the voice of reason.
Okay, okay. And there's something, and one of the things you've always done, you've laid so many pillows in our lives, spiritual pillows. And again, I have to consistently refer to where I was in my environment, mentally, emotionally, and in that environment, the projects. It didn't matter where we were. You had these 6 children. Didn't matter where we were. Didn't matter what we had on our agenda. On Wednesday night at 8 p.m., there was an expectation that you had of all your children, and that is to come into this house and we would stand in a circle, we would hold hands, you would pray, you would cry to your God, and you would pray, and you would cry to your God. And we never was late for that because we knew how important that was and that you meant it. Tell us, Mama, how important it is that parents implement prayer in the family unit and prayer together.
Prayer is important. Prayer is the key. And the faith in your prayer unlock the doors that is closed in your face. and every walk of life. We have people who are in charge, are in control, they says, and they believe they had the control from God. That's the only way you can rise above that limitation that has been placed in your mind. So then to get over your fears of these people, you had to pray.
Yes.
And our Savior had opened up the way.
Yes.
Man is always to pray and not to faint.
Yes.
And man is always to pray
Yes.
that you will not be led into temptation.
Yes.
Temptation is a sin.
Yes.
And that of those out there want you to sin so your God would turn on you.
Yes.
And Satan would take hold of your life.
Okay.
But then I wouldn't ever
Okay.
tell my children Satan had the ups on them.
Yes.
God got them, all of them.
Okay. Okay. Ma, we're coming to a close, and I tell you, this 30 minutes have come and gone so fast. But there is one thing I must ask of you, and that is, I know what you've been through. I know the foundation that you've laid. I know the power of God in your life. I want you to share in 1 minute's time, because we're coming to an end. I know that's, when the God got the Spirit on you, it's kind of difficult, but I know in 1 minute's time, share with those mothers. I want you to look into their eyes right now. Share with those mothers. Give them something inspirational that will help them if they're raising children alone, if they're in at-risk environments, if they're dealing with problems, some of the things that people may not even understand, mentally, emotionally, or whatever. What could you say to them to bless their hearts and souls? That came right here.
I would like to say to the mothers, Happy Mother's Day every day. You don't have to worry when you pray to God. And you have a husband, don't worry, pray for him.
Yes.
Keep him strong.
Yes.
I am a witness that God can do all things but failure.
Yes.
I want to say happy birthday to my husband that God gave me, Prophet Spann.
Yes.
That is here with me today is his birthday.
Yes.
He took away
Yes.
what he wanted to come and be with us.
Yes.
So therefore, we want to say to women, love your husband,
Yes.
respect your husband, help your husband, and he will help you with your children.
Yes.
And God will do the rest.
Yes.
What you and your husband cannot do, God will do.
Okay.
He will help you. Happy Mother's Day again, in love.
Amen.
I think you all can and will do it.
Okay, thank you so much, Mama. What can I say? Of course, we know that apparently the foundation has been laid. I am so grateful that my mother has come out to just share with us, also to just share her love with you, because it resonates in my heart 24/7. And we want to ask all of you all to strive to learn to love each other as I've been exposed to the kind of love that is from above. That is the key to the concept of grace in motion. Again, thank you so much for allowing us into your homes, and we thank you for consistently tuning in, and may God bless you until we see you again. Mama?